you pled guilty to charges of, I don't remember exactly the charges, assault with a deadly weapon.
They would have never let me be out here with you if that was the case.
You stabbed him. Okay. All right. Do you feel like that was a mistake in hindsight?
I believe that was the greatest thing ever. This is gonna sound crazy, but I believe that helped me. You know what I'm saying? Because that put the brakes on everything. That let me know that no matter how successful you are and how much you on your road, it can all stop. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you still kid from Marcy Projects, and you know, not everybody they waiting for you to mess up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just go ahead. You know what I'm saying? We let you just go ahead and self-destruct yourself. You know what I'm saying? But that right there was a moment I was like, okay. You know, and I'm glad it didn't have to take for me to be in jail for like 7 years to be like, damn. You know what I'm saying? That moment was like, okay, all that stops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going to parties with 30 people, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to put myself in that position.
When you look at Dame still kind of living that life, you know, you could find Dame at the club, you know.
Yeah, but he's with 30 models. It's a little different. I was with the hood.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point.
Rumors are swirling that Jay-Z is facing a kind of pressure he hasn't experienced before. Commentators across the industry claim that people from his past, including those who felt sidelined or betrayed, are quietly resurfacing. Gene Deal has been especially vocal, suggesting that Jay-Z may be the next major name pulled into the storm that already consumed Diddy. While nothing official has been announced, the atmosphere around Jay-Z feels different, heavier, and far less controlled than before. Some whispers even suggest that Beyoncé may be preparing to create distance, not in a dramatic way, but through silence and separation of brand identity. Insiders argue that this is how powerful figures protect themselves before public narratives shift. Whether these rumors hold weight or not, many agree that Jay-Z is no longer standing above the conversation. His incited, being watched more closely than ever.
That there's stories of Jay talking to underage girls. It was a girl from my block that was 16, 17 years old that Jay was talking to. If she was 17. So there's plenty of stories out there that they might flood the market of Jay talking to underage girls. I heard this kid that is claiming to be his son. His mother was 15 when she conceived him and had him at 16. And Jay refused to do a blood test or anything like that.
From your point of view, because I know you heard the statement that, you know, Jay lawyer came out with about how he wasn't really friends with Diddy. From your point of view, was they really friends or no?
How close was Diddy and Jay-Z? They was close enough that they wasn't playing basketball. They wasn't playing baseball. They wasn't playing football. And they wasn't playing hockey or soccer for Diddy to come on stage, pat him on his ass, and then make the statement to people in the world that can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it. But I don't know what kind of half a homo that is. And you trying to say that you're not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass. And then you making a broad statement to the public. Can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter. And I heard Jay-Z said the same thing about them. But they were so close that they had matching white girls together. Because when they used to see each other, they used to say, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? He'd be like, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? So I guess that's
Gene Deal and others have claimed that Diddy and Jay-Z were never truly allies in the way the public imagined. According to Deal, Diddy once openly disliked Jay-Z and allegedly tried to push Ja Rule into beefing with him in the early 2000s. Commentators say this wasn't about loyalty or rivalry, but strategy, keeping artists in conflict while positioning himself between them. Deal has admitted he never fully understood the reason behind the tension, but he believes Diddy benefited from chaos. By keeping others distracted, he could rise while they clashed. Industry watchers now look back at those moments as early signs of manipulation that may explain why so many old conflicts are resurfacing today.
Story behind Jay-Z being afraid to come out his hotel room because of Pop.
all right. What happened is that I guess Pac had got whiffed that Jay-Z was in town. Well, he gonna do a show because Jay-Z, he doing a show. But you got to realize Jay-Z had became an enemy of Pac because I think he had said was going to do a song with Big or whatever like that, the whole 9 yards. So Jay is now Pac's enemy too. So Chaz Williams, who was over Black Hands. Black Hands was one of the labels who did that. Black Gangster had every artist in New York on, and Chaz, who is now getting into the music business, has become a music executive, and he was once a former gangster who was on American Gangster BET because they had him down for robbing 161 banks. That's what they put in their program and everything. But Chaz was a gangster in New York City that became a music executive. So he gets a phone call saying that Jay is not going to come out the room because Tupac threatened him. So he's not going to do his show. Can he make some phone calls, you understand, to get Pac off the bullshit? So I think he may have talked to Big D, and Big D and Eric B called Suge, and Suge was laughing, saying that wasn't him. Because they tried to make it seem like it was Suge that was doing it, but it was Pac. So I guess Suge called Pac. Pac let him go ahead and do his show and everything like that. But Jay was scared to come out his room.
So that story was really true about Jay-Z being afraid to come out his hotel room.
Yeah, come on, man. Yeah, he was scared.
They got together, gonna put up $30 million a piece.
Contemplating doing the first black-owned distribution company.
The thing is, they wasn't trying to let us in the door. That's why I don't trust these people.
But Suge came up with the idea. It was a brilliant plan. He said, whatever the recording funds, 10% goes to the union. And each time you do a new album, 10%. It was going to be some get down or lay down shit. Shortly after that, the feds raided it.
All of us was being hit up around the same time. Someone left that meeting talking about our move.
It was Jay-Z and Puff that went to those New York corner to let them know what Suge Knight was trying to do. They told Jay, if you help us get rid of Dame, we're going to make you the president of Def Jam.
Why don't we stick together and they got to come to us? For some reason, everybody just wants to do everything on their.
For years, Jaguar Wright and Gene Deal have warned that Jay-Z and Diddy were surrounded by unresolved tension and controversy. They argue that what's happening now isn't sudden or random. It's delayed consequences finally catching up. According to these voices, both men moved through high-stakes environments where silence was bought, loyalty was tested, and power was constantly shifting. Diddy's situation has already taken a dramatic public turn, and commentators believe Jay-Z may now be approaching a similar moment of reckoning. The difference, they say, is that Jay-Z has always mastered control of perception. What happens when that control weakens is the question now hanging over the industry.
Could be sexually assaulted, violently assaulted. Is that a thing? Because based on what was said in court, it feels like a thing.
Yeah, it clearly is a thing. I mean, they're already, and he did not want to make a big deal of it. They already tried to shank it once at the MDC, and that was thwarted. And it happens in prison. I mean, you and I could tick off how many times we are aware of somebody getting seriously injured or killed in prison. And so they're going to have to keep him somewhere that they can keep an eye on him. It would have obviously been better if he had gotten less time and had been at a camp, but he's going to be in a facility where somebody's going to have to, from the BOP, and I think they're well equipped to do it if they can, to keep an eye on him because he is a target.
So let's say he is sent to a minimum security prison. Is he out of the woods when it comes to that kind of assault?
If you're going, you and I talked about Ghislaine Maxwell, who went from the one place in Florida, which was a higher level, not a camp. And she was transferred after she did the interview with the couple-day interview. She was transferred to what they call a...
Stories have resurfaced about a proposed black-owned distribution company that reportedly involved multiple major figures pooling millions together. According to insiders, the plan was groundbreaking, designed to create collective power in an industry that repeatedly shut black ownership out. But shortly after these discussions, federal raids allegedly hit several people connected to the idea. Some critics claim Jay-Z and Diddy later aligned with executives who helped remove Dame Dash from power. Others argue this moment symbolized the collapse of unity in hip-hop business. Instead of collective economics, individual ambition won, and the consequences of that decision are still being debated today.
And the circumstances, him being in prison, I didn't never hear about this, and nobody ever said anything about this. And I want to know if it's in the prison records. They said one of the guards stopped a dude from shanking Diddy. Now, I'm like, if he was doing all this positive shit in jail, and they was talking about he was, all the inmates loved him, and they was employing him and doing standing ovation. I wonder what inmate was trying to shake him. Was that one of the Tupac? Was that one of the Tupac fans, or that was one of the Biggie fans? Because they said that the guard, they said that in court. One of the lawyers, one of the guards stopped one of the individuals that was trying to shank him, bruh. And that was crazy. Nobody, I never, that didn't leak. Everything leaks from prison, but that didn't leak. Nobody wrote home and said, yo, dudes is in here trying to stab Diddy up. But the lawyers mentioned that today. I want to see if they're going to investigate that right there. You know what I'm saying? And base that, or he probably used that, base that on trying to help Diddy getting into one of those camps or one of those programs.
Man, is that Diddy used to hate Jay-Z. He hated Jay-Z enough when he was trying to get Ja Rule to go at Jay-Z. This is back in the early 2000s.
Did Diddy always say negative things about Jay around you?
The time he was trying to get Ja Rule to go at Jay, yeah, he was. They worked it out.
Was there a reason behind it?
I couldn't tell you the reason behind it. It was probably because Big had died. I don't know what it was, man. I don't know why he wanted Ja Rule to go at Jay. I guess if he kept them beefing or kept them into some bullshit, he could rise up in between both of them. You know what I mean?
The 1999 Kit Kat Club incident remains one of the most controversial chapters in Jay-Z's history. While Jay-Z pled guilty to a lesser charge, Lance Rivera has consistently insisted that Jay never attacked him. That contradiction has fueled decades of speculation, leaving fans and critics divided over what truly happened that night. Commentators argue that this case never fully settled because the legal outcome and personal testimony don't align. Some believe Rivera stayed silent for reasons known only to him, while others say the truth was buried to protect powerful interests. Either way, the story refuses to disappear, continuing to shadow Jay-Z's legacy.
Himself in tonight, and the cops started working on his rap sheet, accusing him of a stabbing at a trendy party.
Kimberly Richardson is at Midtown South right now. Kimberly.
Well, Rosanna, just a few hours ago, police here at Midtown South arrested Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z. The rap star voluntarily turned himself in here at the precinct earlier this evening. Now, Carter is being held here in connection with that stabbing fight that erupted at the Kit Kat Club last night. But just a few moments ago, Carter's attorney had this to say.
He's not involved in this, period.
He was at the club?
That's my only comment. He wasn't involved in this.
So it was someone else that did the stabbing and the hitting?
I didn't say that. I said he was not involved in it.
Now, Slovis goes on to say that at no time was Jay-Z hiding from the police, that they were in touch with cops all day and that they're trying to resolve this as gentlemen. But as Mike Sheehan shows us, others say they've seen the dark side of Jay-Z.
Old interviews featuring Jay-Z discussing the incident are now being re-examined. Critics claim he showed little public remorse, framing the event more as a lesson that helped him grow rather than harm caused to someone else. Supporters argue he was speaking honestly about how close he came to losing everything. This split interpretation has kept the debate alive. Commentators say that the way Jay-Z talked about the incident, calm, reflective, and detached, left room for people to question his accountability. Whether fair or not, those words are now being viewed through a much harsher lens.
He had a personal assistant from my block named Laura. And he had brought like 6 people to the club with him, and he was only supposed to get 3 people in. I was running the door at Daddy-O's from Industry Entertainment. They just told me Jay-Z only get 3 people in. So I'm at the door. I said, yo, Jay, you good? And 3 of your other good, but the other 3 got to pay. So then he said, Laura, handle him. And at that time, the type of dude I was, you couldn't tell no woman to handle me when I'm talking to you as a man. I said, who you talking to like that? You telling her to handle me? And then me and him, you know, he didn't say that. He just turned to the side. And if he'd have turned back around, he'd have got his head knocked off. But Laura told me, yo, Gene, please, Gene, you're going to make me lose my job. You know what I'm saying? And because once she was beautiful, 2, she from our block, I wasn't going to do that to her. So I gathered myself, stepped away from the situation.
Another long-standing industry story involves claims that Jay-Z once stayed inside his Las Vegas hotel room due to fear of a confrontation with Tupac. According to Gene Deal, tensions were high and only calmed down after Suge Knight allegedly intervened and told Tupac to let Jay-Z perform. These stories have become part of hip-hop folklore. While some dismiss them as exaggerated, others argue they reveal how volatile that era truly was. Commentators say moments like this shaped Jay-Z's approach to power, choosing strategy and survival over direct confrontation.
Do records, or had his producers do a few records on my War and Peace album, the Peace Disc. Yeah.
How was he to work with?
It was cool. You know, he gave us great music. We flew out to New York, and I was mainly in the studio with the producer. You know, he had a stable of producers, so I was in the studio with his stable of producers, and I think we did some great music. And you know, I really kind of lost contact with him and really stopped dealing with Puffy around 94.
Oh,
yeah.
Any specific reason?
Yeah, I mean, they was doing their thing, I was doing mine. And I'm not the partying type. You know what I mean? I ain't never been to a Diddy party. Ain't never really wanted to go, but I don't go to a lot of people parties. That just ain't what I'm in it.
Gene Deal has also shared personal encounters where he claims Jay-Z avoided direct conflict. In one story, Deal says a situation nearly escalated until someone else stepped in, preventing a physical confrontation. Critics use these accounts to challenge the idea that Jay-Z was as feared on the street as his reputation suggested. Supporters counter that intelligence and restraint don't equal weakness. Still, these stories continue to circulate, adding layers to the debate about who Jay-Z really was behind the image, a feared figure, or a careful operator who knew when to step back.
Correctional officer or police officer was the one who came and basically helped him out and quote unquote saved him. Yes. And so, obviously Diddy's lawyers are trying to use this as a way to just get him even moved to a different location. But right now, everything is kind of staying as is.
Yeah, his safety being an issue when he's supposed to be, I think in some sort of protected environment. Remember MDC? Isn't that where the Epstein situation happened?
Yeah. Is he
safe though? And you say something about him getting stabbed?
I was going to say Diddy's team is saying no, he's not going to be safe because in court we found out that there was an attempt on Diddy's life, that there was a man that attempted to shank him, but they stopped it, the correctional officers. And they say Diddy didn't even want people to know that he didn't want to make it a big deal. But of course they're having that conversation about will he be safe because of who he is and how high profile this case is.
Right.
They're also having a conversation. Mark Geragos is a high profile attorney, a friend of Diddy's, but also the dad of Teenie Geragos, who led Diddy's defense about Diddy potentially being raped in court. And we can and just attacks on his life because they say that people look at him as like a trophy or a prize and to do something to him.
Well, what if other inmates hear all of the stuff that we've been hearing in the news all of these weeks and they scared of Diddy?
That's not how they presented it. I don't.
That's crazy to say Diddy's a trophy. Like he's looked at as a
More controversial rumors have circulated involving alleged interactions with underage girls. These claims remain unproven, but Gene Deal and others say they heard such stories during their time around the industry. Supporters strongly deny these allegations, calling them recycled gossip meant to damage reputations. Critics argue that repeated whispers, even without charges, still matter when patterns appear. They believe silence from powerful circles allowed rumors to linger without resolution. As scrutiny increases, these old stories are being pulled back into the spotlight once again.